As all of you are aware, on August 9th, 2018, Zola's Lab 2 was officially shut down. What I'm referring to is that it disappeared out of nowhere. But what if that never happened? What would the year been like if ZL2 still stayed alive past that point? In this Saturday Stories, I will actually go over what the year would have been like if ZL2 actually stayed alive past August 9th of 2018. Because fun fact, there were actually events planned for the month of August before we knew that that was going to end up happening. In fact, to get ourselves started here, it's quite a coincidence that I mentioned August 9th, 2018, the day this incident happened, because there was supposed to be a cave expedition, ironically beginning the day this shutdown actually happened, August 9th, 2018. That's right, the very day this shutdown happened, the cave expedition for 2018, making it being the first one in 3 years since 2015, it was meant to go from August 9th to the 16th. And then, just 1 week after that, another event down there, which we will get to in a minute, would have gone after that. The original premise behind this cave expedition was originally, and I mean originally, supposed to explore, well, the caves. Specifically. Yep, the caves. It was meant to explore underground. Now, of course, this did end up happening 4 years later in 2023 in January, but the points still remain. Yeah, basically what we explored in the cave expedition of 2023 was basically what we were supposed to explore 4 years prior. Sorry, 5 years prior. Actually, yeah, never mind. Sorry, this took place 5 years later. And yeah, we would have explored this very cave, of course. This was 3 years before Caves and Cliffs, so this would have been just a bit different. So, yeah. Regardless, we still would have been exploring underground regardless. But it's good to know that this did end up happening 5 years later, in 2023. And see, there's the original schedule for August of 2018. Speaking of that next one, by the way, yeah, did I mention that Operation Wilderness was originally a ZL2 event before it was eventually moved to Legos Island, just 6 months later? Yep. That's not a joke, actually. That's right. Operation Wilderness was originally a ZL2 event that would have occurred in Zola's Lab 2 from August 23rd to the 30th. Now, this event in particular, as the name applies, would have tackled the wilderness side of Zola's Lab 2, which means we would have had to gone far, far away from the world to be able to even reach the wilderness of Zola's Lab 2. Of course, you can clearly tell this didn't happen because of the shutdown, and would later become the event that did end up being moved to Legos Island in February of 2019. So yes, originally, the entirety of Operation Wilderness, the entirety of just the event alone, was originally a ZL2 event until the shutdown happened and we had to move it somewhere else. We couldn't do it in Zola's Lab 3 in the snowy tundra because that's mainly all in the snow. And we definitely couldn't have done it in space Zola's Lab 3 because, of course, that all takes place in the freaking end dimension. So the only choice was to move it to Legos Island, which did end up happening. Literally 6 months later. Ironically, almost exactly 6 months after that would have occurred originally. Just off by 1 day. What a freaking coincidence. So yep, that can explain why it made its way to Legos Island instead of Zola's Lab 2. See? Now everything is getting explained here. However, I wouldn't actually be afraid to actually do Operation Wilderness outside of Legos Island. Do you want to see that in 2024? Comment down below. I'd love to actually do this in the original world that it was intended for originally. But I'll leave that up to you. Now, I think the only difference that this event would have had is that I don't think it would have taken place at night. I think this would have been an all-day event if it still occurred in ZL2. Because we would have been able to see this part of the wilderness a bit better. And by the way, we didn't actually really figure out a plot line for Operation Wilderness for ZL2. The plot line you saw on Legos Island definitely fit Legos Island a whole lot more. But I don't remember if we had an original plot for Operation Wilderness in ZL2 right before the shutdown happened. I don't think we ever did. So on to the next event. Okay, this next one's interesting because I'm pretty sure we would have actually celebrated the anniversary of of course, our Minecraft Big Brother series, but if we go back further, yeah, we definitely had an entire schedule planned for this year. At least this is what this video tells us. Back to the point, though. I think we still would have celebrated this 2-year anniversary celebration. And I'm pretty sure it would have played out exactly like this, the way we had it, of course, in ZL2. Now, if I had to guess, it probably would have gone for the exact length that it did, which was September 4th through the 18th, respectively. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this event, I think we were going to still hold it regardless of the shutdown, I think. Or I could have been wrong. You know, actually, I'm going to be completely honest. I completely forgot if there was a mainline September event for ZL2 prior to the shutdown. I think this was still actually the main event for September, even if the shutdown didn't happen. So at least that's something to know. So I think, yeah, this event I think still was going to occur regardless of the shutdown. And I think the length still would have been the same. So moving on. I'm also pretty sure I think the Halloween fair I think we still wanted to do regardless of ZL2 shutdown. Now I think the length actually would have been a little different because I think the length, obviously, I don't think it would have started as early as it did, which was October 6th. But I think it would have started somewhere around like the 18th or something originally, if I had to remember correctly. But I think regardless of ZL2's shutdown, I think the Halloween fair was originally still planned, but I think it would have started later in October, like October 18th or 25th or something. And yeah, so yeah, the Halloween fair, yeah, I think that was still planned. But regardless, yeah, I think the year we had planned out for the rest of the year for 2018 after the shutdown, I think is actually what we were going to do in ZL2, regardless of its shutdown. I do apologize if I keep repeating myself, but it is actually true, because, yeah, that did end up being true, because I actually wanted to do something a little different. Like, I actually did want to combine the fair with Halloween for quite a while, long before ZL2 shut down. Actually, it was, I think, around the time of ZL2's shutdown that I thought of the idea of combining the Halloween party with the fair. So, I think that was planned just a few days beforehand, so yeah, I think we still would have seen that regardless. So no, this wasn't a ZL3 exclusive thing. No, I think we were actually going to still do it regardless. Now, I don't remember if the adventure party was originally planned for ZL2. I think that was a ZL3 exclusive. I don't remember what the main event in November was going to be. I think the only reason the adventure party happened, I think, is because that was a ZL3 exclusive, and ZL3 in the present day was just opened, so I don't think the adventure party was meant to be held, even if ZL2 was still around. Although now that I think about it, maybe it was. I completely forgot. This was 5 years ago. I completely forgot if ZL2 was going to still hold the adventure party. Well, it's funny I say that, because that did end up happening 3 years later in 2021, in September. So, hey, we eventually got it, but I don't think it was originally planned for November. I completely forgot what the November event was. It may have still been this, and I could be completely proven wrong. And if so, I think it would have occurred later in the month. Maybe around the time Thanksgiving happened, but I forgot. As for this last one, though, the Christmas Party 2018, if ZL2 was still alive around this time, I'm pretty sure the train concept, I think, was still going to be done. Although, actually, though, I'm going to be quite honest with all of you. I thought of the train concept far after ZL2's shutdown. So, if I'm going to be quite honest, if ZL2's shutdown didn't happen, I don't think the train concept probably would have happened. Like, because I didn't think of the train concept until after ZL2 shut down. Now, I still could have probably thought of it around this time. And the lab office probably would have still retained its design from the previous year. Of course, just with some minor differences, obviously. And maybe with like a blue design rather than red and green. But I don't remember how that would have played out. I definitely know the lab layout still would have looked exactly the same as the year prior, just with some minor differences. That's definitely what I can remember. So, yeah. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the train concept, the railroad donation game concept, yeah, that was planned after ZL2 shut down. So, I think this Christmas party would have just been a traditional party with no huge concept implemented. So, yeah. That's how that party would have went. And it probably would have occurred later in December. Probably. Although, actually, this was around the time a lot of these parties were becoming like 3 to 4 weeks long. So, never mind. Maybe this event actually probably still would have been the length that it was. Because if you remember, most of these were like 3 to 4 weeks long. And this still occurred even after ZL2 shutdown. You'll probably remember that a lot of events actually did end up being like 2 to 3 weeks long at length, or at most, if you can consider that. So I think this length actually still would have been the same, actually. I don't think anything would have changed. It's just, obviously, I don't think the railroad donation game would have been there. That's definitely the one difference. I can definitely guarantee you. And that's it. So I'm going to wrap it up here because that's it. That's literally how 2018 would have played out if ZL2 never shut down. Most of this actually would have remained the same, actually. Yeah, I know, you're probably quite surprised, actually. Yeah, you were probably quite surprised. A lot of this actually would have remained the same. Just, of course, with ZL2 instead of ZL3, obviously. It's just there are minor differences that I just previously explained. But yeah, most of the year would have remained the same, actually. Obviously, the Old Memories Party would have never happened, obviously. If ZL2 stayed alive, that party would have never happened. I'm talking about the Old Memories Party, and obviously the grand opening of ZL3, or at least the re-grand opening. Obviously, those two would have not happened if that was the case, obviously, because the Cave Expedition and Operation Wilderness would have taken those. So, basically, the re-grand opening and Old Memories Party were basically their replacements. So, at least that's good to know. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Saturday Stories on November 25th, which I already got that one planned. Thank God. And, well, the only goal I got right now is to make sure this gets up before midnight. Let me do that now. Which means I gotta end it here.